Good evening. Welcome to Convention of States Indiana Live. Do you think we have a big problem with our federal government? If you do, stay tuned because we at Convention of States have a solution as big as the problem. Our broadcast host is Dale Parrish. He's the Convention of States Indiana State Director. Take it away, Dale.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Maringo Mike, for that introduction. Good to see Maringo Mike back with us again, and plan on utilizing him a great deal this year. So, welcome, everyone. Again, my name is Dale Parrish. I'm the State Director for Convention of States here in Indiana. And Happy New Year to everyone, and welcome to our broadcast tonight. There are some changes that we're making this year to start off 2020, and you'll notice on your screen one of the changes is we have a little more color on our screen with a frame around it, and I'm wearing a tie tonight. That's a little different look. So and we're utilizing a new piece of software for our broadcast. This is an upgrade that our software provided, went to last year, and I decided that I wanted to move up and upscale, and so I decided over the holidays I was going to implement this new software program. So you may not see a lot of difference, but please bear with me as I move from screen to screen here and scene to scene, because it I'm still getting used to it. So bear with me a little bit here this evening, and hopefully I'll get better as time goes on. Well, tonight's broadcast, again, I want to let you know that the purpose of this broadcast is we're trying to target Hoosiers, other Hoosiers in the state of Indiana, that maybe you're currently supporters of Convention of States, but want to learn more about it, or perhaps you're not yet a supporter of Convention of States. And many of you may have made a New Year's resolution to get involved in Convention of States this year. So this is your opportunity to learn more about Convention of States and our organization here in Indiana. And we'll be talking later on in the broadcast how you go about becoming a supporter and getting involved with us. And we're going to be talking to you tonight about certain needs that we have here in the state of Indiana. Tonight's the first segment, which is generally our discussion segment. This first segment tonight is going to be about what our vision is for Convention of States here in Indiana, what our mission objectives are that we want to try and accomplish in 2020, which will then bring us closer to realizing that vision. And then I want to touch on the various positions that we have open in our state that we want to either fill or get more people involved in those positions. Now, in order to cover these topics, I'm going to bring on our two co-state directors, Gary Harbaugh and Paul Phillips. And the two of them are going to help me to discuss these various areas. Now, before I bring them on, I want to give you my standard warning, and that is that should your screen go blank or freeze up, just understand that we've encountered a technical problem, and you know how it works. Technology works fine as long as it works, okay? But sometimes it doesn't. If that happens, don't wait around for us. It just takes too long to bring everything up again. So if that happens, then go ahead and close us down and go on with your evening, and put us on the calendar for next Monday evening to join in on our broadcast. So I always like to give that warning ahead of time, just in case something like that happens. Now, I'm going to bring on our co-state directors this evening that are going to help me with this broadcast. And there is Gary, and there should be Paul coming up there. There's Paul. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Glad to have you this evening. Now, something else I want to make you aware of. We're going to be, as I said, we're going to be talking about these different areas that I mentioned: the vision, the mission statement, and the positions that we have available, have open. So I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint, and in that, and then I'm going to open the PowerPoint up to the full screen, so you won't be able to see the three of us, but you'll be able to hear us as we go through and talk about the various topics that we're going to talk about. So, okay, guys, are you ready to get going on this then?
Indeed.
Let me get up here, and here we are. Okay, Paul, Gary, you can still hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha, good. All right, guys, let's get started then with the vision statement for Convention of States here in Indiana. And that statement, that vision statement is, our vision is to build a Hoosier grassroots community of citizens and legislators dedicated to the constitutional concept of self-governance. So, Paul, why don't you lead us off, and what does this mean to you? What comments would you like to make about this vision statement?
Well, I like this vision statement because it identifies what is central to us accomplishing our goals, and that's our grassroots. And our goal, as you'll see in a little bit, is to build that grassroots, to build our army of volunteers. But one of the most important things we can do with our grassroots activists is connect them with their legislators. And we see that relationship between our grassroots activists and their legislators as a key. And our main strategy is to develop healthy and effective relationships between citizens and their legislators.
Okay. All right. Good. How about you, Gary?
Dale, I'd like to put emphasis on those last two words of self-governance.
Yeah.
The first three words of our Constitution are "we the people." And if we the people want better government, we need to be involved. Every citizen who has an interest in government and what goes on with government should think about how they can be active and be involved in holding our legislators accountable and all of our elected officials accountable to do the will of the people.
All right, good. I'm same as the two of you. I really I kind of focus on the community part there, that being citizens and our legislators, our state legislators, I might say. That's what this is intended to be: citizens and our state legislators. And of course, I'm like you, Gary, on the self-governance. I really focus on that. And the thing is, if you're involved in Convention of States, if you're a supporter, or if you're a volunteer or in a leadership role, you're exercising self-governance. And and of course, there are many other ways to achieve self-governance. So, okay, good. I think that's good. And again, this is our vision statement. This is what we are continuing to strive and achieve. Now, let's talk about then our mission statement and mission objectives. And these are two really very broad objectives that, if we can accomplish these objectives in 2020, that will take us closer to achieving that vision that we just discussed. So Paul, why don't you take the first mission statement there? Meet and with all assigned and targeted legislators.
Yeah, before I jump in there, Dale, let me note that got a viewer comment here that the presentation is only a quarter of the screen, and they can still see all three of us. So,
Is that right?
Yeah. So as I'm talking, if you
Okay.
want to see if you can get that presentation to go full screen, it should be easier for everybody to read. So, meeting with all assigned and targeted legislators is a key to what we want to accomplish this year. And what we've done is identified. Yeah, you've got it fixed now, Dale. That looks good.
Okay. Again, folks, new program, new software here. There was a step that I forgot to do there. So thank you, viewer, for calling that to our attention. Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
So what we've done with legislators in the state, there are 150 of them, 50 senators and 100 representatives. And we've identified legislators who we need to get our message in front of and basically educate them on Convention of States. And this is a large number of legislators who are new to the state legislature since we passed our Convention of States resolution in 2016. Excuse me. And our list also includes some legislators on key committees who are important to us for advancing our cause. And all told, it's about 70 legislators who we want to get in front of and get educated on what the Convention of States is all about.
Okay, good. Okay, Gary, and you're going to take our second mission objective, and that's to grow the grassroots to 52,000 supporters.
Yes, Dale. Indiana is already a past state, as most of your viewers probably know. And we already have about 40,000, in fact, over 40,000 grassroots supporters in the state of Indiana. But we're keeping our pedal to the metal and pressing on to grow the grassroots, educate more people, involve more people. That represents a 30% growth to get from 40,000 to 52,000. And we'll be doing a lot of activities in the state this year to spread the word and build on the base of supporters that we already have.
Yes. I'll be covering this a little bit more a little later in our broadcast, but you're right, Gary. We went over in 2019. We went over 41,000 supporters in the state of Indiana, and we want to reach toward getting this 52,000 supporters in 2020. And yes, we have a wide range of activities that we get involved in. And this broadcast, as a matter of fact, is one of those activities. And that is to get more and more people involved in Convention of States as a supporter, a volunteer, or perhaps even in a leadership role. All right. I'm going to back up real quickly. And since I didn't have the screen properly set, this is the vision statement that we covered in the first part of this discussion. Our vision to build a Hoosier grassroots community of citizens and legislators dedicated to the constitutional concept of self-governance. So that's what that slide looked like, in case you couldn't see it when we first did this. Okay, let's now talk about some specific positions that we would like to find people to fill in 2020. And we've kind of divided these up. So, Gary, you want to lead us off and talk about district captains. And this is dear to Gary, because part of Gary's job is to supervise all the district captains and region captains in the state. So, Gary, I want to talk about district captains.
The district captain is actually the most important position in the Convention of States organization, because it is the district captain who will build a relationship with his or her legislator and be the face of Convention of States to that legislator. So in Indiana, we have 100 House districts. Our goal is would like to have a district captain in every one of those House districts. I don't think we'll get there, but that's what we'd like to have. They are the prime contact for their state legislator to know, what we're about, what we're doing, and to have a connection with a person, because we think relationships are important. It's not just having legislators know, what we're doing, but to know us as people.
All right. Good, Gary. Okay. Event coordinator, Paul, you want to take that one?
Event coordinator is a position we'd really like to get filled, and that's someone who can help us, as it probably sounds, with coordinating events. For example, we are planning a gathering of statewide of all of our volunteers for later in the year, and we certainly could use somebody who has event planning skills to, scheduling a site, coordinating everything that's involved with getting, upwards of maybe close to 100 people together, and that kind of thing. We also do events like town hall meetings, attend things like gun shows and parades, other kinds of community events. And we certainly could use a person who can help us organize all of this.
Good, good. Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into pulling off these events like this. So we really need someone that's preferably has some experience at doing this. So, okay, coalitions director. I'm going to cover that one. A coalitions director, again, this is another means of growing the grassroots, and that's this person should be good at networking and making contact with other local organizations as well as statewide organizations that are kind of like-minded to what we're trying to do, and then this person should be willing and able then to go to these organizations and talk to them about Convention of States, tell them what we're trying to do, and then get those individuals to then join our movement as supporters or perhaps leaders. So it's basically developing coalitions, developing relationships through networking with other organizations in and around our state. Okay, Veterans Coalition Coordinator. I think, Gary, you're going to cover that one?
Yes. One of the most fertile grounds for us to find activists and people interested in our movement and what we're doing and promoting it seem to be among veterans. We meet a lot of them at gun shows and other events, but a veterans coordinator would be someone who really focuses their efforts on contacting veterans groups as well as individual veterans who may be interested in what we're doing. So that would be a position that could, contact people anywhere in the state that might be veterans who want to get involved and be involved in self-governance.
Okay. Preferably a veteran to fill this role, but not necessary. But yes, we find veterans are very like-minded, very in line with what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, Paul, you want to take videographers?
Sure. This is pretty self-explanatory. A videographer is somebody who takes videos. And to promote our cause, it's important to us that we get not just still shots, but video of many of our events, meetings with legislators, when we do town halls, perhaps participate in a parade or other community events. We need people all across the state who can help video and document what we're up to.
And you don't have to be a professional to do this either. You can do this with a smartphone. It's amazing how good a video you can take with just a smartphone. All right, guys. Let me get you three back on the screen here, and so I thank you for participating tonight. And hopefully, if you're viewing our broadcast this evening, you got a little better understanding of what our vision is here in Indiana, and the objectives that we're trying to accomplish, and the particular positions that we're trying to fill going into 2020. So, guys, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Dale.
Okay, let me send them back here. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is let me make sure we. Okay. Once again, bear with me, folks. This is I'm kind of going along here trying to keep up with the program. Okay, now I'm going to I want to go into the next part of our broadcast and cover some information on our state, as well as talking to you about the basics of convention of states, the basic tenets that we follow. So in order to do this, I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint, and I will remember here to do the right thing, okay? And we'll get the slideshow going again here. All right. Well, let me tell you about some of the resources that we have available to us here in the state of Indiana. Of course, the main one is our national website. That's conventionofstates.com. You'll hear us make reference to this website frequently. It has a wealth of information, and as well as on the backside, it's the very tool that we use to administer our organization here in the state of Indiana. Now, embedded in the national website is our state website page, conventionofstates.com/Indiana. Obviously, a little more focused look at our state. We're also on Facebook. As a matter of fact, this various social media platforms that we're on, and our state Facebook page, Convention of States Indiana. This broadcast is coming to you tonight through that Facebook page. So we're on Facebook. YouTube channel, COS Indiana. Our YouTube channel is very much an educational resource for you. We have various narrated PowerPoint presentations, recordings of our broadcasts, and we also have links to a podcast that Paul Phillips, one of our guest speakers in the first segment, it's a podcast that Paul does. It's called the Free to Be Free podcast, and we have links then on our YouTube channel to all of his podcasts. They're very, very good. I really encourage you to, if you enjoy listening to podcasts, you'll learn a lot in his podcast. So the Free to Be Free. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're always looking for other social media platforms to have a presence. So we're out there. You should be easily be able to find us. All right, let me give you some quick numbers. Like we said when we were talking about our mission objectives, in 2019, we actually went over 41,000 supporters in the state of Indiana. And we've been growing tremendously over the past few years. Now, our goal, as we said, for 2020 is we want to get to 52,000 supporters here in the state of Indiana. That would be a tremendous goal to reach, and we plan on getting there. All right. About 2,900 volunteers, people that have indicated a willingness to help. We have about 40 individuals in leadership roles. Now, here's this website again, conventionofstates.com. If you have any desire to get more involved in Convention of States, and this is a perfect time at the beginning of the year, New Year's resolution, you know, go to this national website, conventionofstates.com, click on the menu selection of Take Action, scroll down, look at the different positions that we have available, read about them. If you're really interested, open it up, read some more about it, and make application. Now, you're not obligated in any way. Don't worry about that. But what making an application does is that your name then comes up on a report that I see every day, as well as Gary and Paul both see every day. And one of us will be in contact with you then to discuss further your interest in that particular position. So this is the time to get involved, folks. Beginning of a new year. We need you, and we would love to have your involvement as a leader in Convention of States. All right. I want to touch on the three basic tenets of Convention of States, and this applies to not only Indiana, but all of Convention of States nationally. The problem, the solution, and the plan. Now, the problem is that we think our federal government's pretty much out of control, lacks the will and courage to address some basic structural problems. And we've identified those as three abuses by the federal government. The first one is our national debt. What now over 23 trillion. And as you know, it's going to continue going up. And so nothing is being done to address this problem in our country, and we think this is something that needs to be addressed. The regulatory crisis, the administrative state is considered now the fourth branch of our government. I know the current administration has made some headway in eliminating some regulations, but a great deal more work needs to be done in this area, as well as how to prevent more of these regulations to be created. And the last abuse has to do with state sovereignty. You know, when the country was founded on a concept called dual federalism, where the states and the federal government shared in the power in our government. Well, that has all tilted toward the federal government. And we believe the career politician plays a big role in this. So term limits is the area that we want to see addressed for this particular abuse. Now, the solution that we have is Article 5 of our Constitution. And we're not making this up. This is actually in our Constitution. Article 5 describes the two methods of proposing amendments to the Constitution. Let's talk about, just briefly touch on each of those methods. The first method is where 2/3 of Congress proposes an amendment to the Constitution, has to be then ratified by 3/4 of the state legislatures, which would be 38 states, in order for that proposed amendment to become an amendment. Well, there is a second method in Article 5. It's in there. We're not making this up. And that's where 2/3 of the state legislatures apply to hold a convention of states for the purpose of proposing amendments. Then those proposed amendments have to go through the same ratification process as in method 1, whereby 3/4 of the states, or 38 states, would have to ratify any proposed amendment for it to become automatically then become an amendment to the Constitution. This is what we want to see happen. We want to see a convention of states to propose amendments addressing the abuses of government that we identified in the first area called the problem. All right. Well, what's our plan? Our plan is in two parts. The first part has to do with the unique application strategy. We have designed the strategy, our application, that we want 34 states to utilize, addressing fiscal restraints, limiting the power and jurisdiction of the federal government, and term limits. That's the subject matter of the application, and that's what determines the agenda at the convention. So those are the three areas. Again, those address the abuses that we identified in the problem area. The other part of the plan is mobilizing the grassroots, mobilizing citizens and legislators. As you know, our vision statement here in Indiana, and so mobilizing these individuals to make this happen. We're in all 50 states across the country. We need to get to 34 states to make this happen. We have 15 states that have made application, that have passed this application. Yes, Indiana is one of those states. This is what we need to get done. And if you have any desire to get involved in this, this is where we would like to get you involved in helping us make this happen. All right, let me go back now to our last segment, and we'll try to wrap things up here. Let me see if I see we've got a couple individuals. There's James Cressy. James says he's hoping everyone has had a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And he's ready for the new year coming up. Jerry Rowe, one of our current volunteers and leaders, is saying hello to everyone. Douglas Brown, I don't know who, there's Douglas. He's saying good evening to everyone. So thank you, Douglas. Glad you could join us this evening. And let me see if I can get, yeah, Jerry, I'll show you Jerry. Jerry said hello all and good evening. So thank you very much, Jerry. So thank you all for joining in this evening. Now, let me tell you about our next broadcast, which will be a week from tonight on Monday the 13th. And we're going to have another chapter in our constitutional literacy program. So our Convention of States volunteer, Debbie Stewart, will be here to present, I believe it's chapter 4 of the constitutional literacy. And I hope you enjoy her presentations. Debbie's a homeschool teacher here in the state of Indiana, and she presents this program to her government class in that she teaches in homeschool. So it's very interesting, and I think you'll learn a lot about the Constitution and our government and how it's all set up. All right, well, let's bring things together here, and I'll try my best to get us there. So here we go. Okay, once again, bear with me this evening on a new software program. So I always like to close our broadcast with this thought, and that is Mark Meckler, our president, Convention of States president, has always said, you know, our country's facing a fundamental question. And the fundamental question is not what should we do? The fundamental question is who will decide? So the question facing us is really a two-word question, very simply, who decides? And folks, we believe that we, the people, should have a greater say-so in decisions made in our federal government. And once again, I want to wish everyone a happy new year. And if you have any desire to start the new year off with and getting involved in Convention of States to make a difference, because ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to save the country here, and I think we're on the right track, and I think this is the way to do it. So I would love to have all of you join us, and we will look forward to having your involvement in Convention of States here in Indiana. Have a good evening, everyone, and we'll see you next Monday evening here at 7 p.m. Thank you. Good night.